I'm thrilled to say that after building a lot and getting this staff very prepared for what we know is coming, I am very proud to say that we are lowering our price back down to $30 a card.
$30 a card, wow. And on top of that, a very special additional announcement is that here at Sports Card Investor, we've worked out a bulk submission deal. You actually get even better pricing than what Peter just announced, plus free pre-screening of your cards. You want to go to sportscardinvestor.com, click on grading in the main menu bar. You guys are about to see some unprecedented access. You ready to go?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, so I brought some 2018 baseball, real relevant right now, guys like Acuna, Ohtani.
Very cool.
Let's see how those do.
Let's see it. Having said that, Geoff, I would like to tell you that your cards are ready.
Oh, okay, here we go. Of course, this episode is brought to you by eBay. eBay is your #1 source for cards and collectibles with the largest inventory of sports cards from basketball to soccer, and buyers from all over the globe. eBay is the leading place to buy, sell, and invest your cards. Getting one of SGC's senior graders here apparently to give me the real scoop in terms of what happened here. What do we got here?
So here's your grades.
Okay, all right, so let's take a look.
Yeah, I'll let you go through them as
we'll go together. All right, so we're starting off good. We've got the Acuna right here, one of the two Acunas. Looks like that graded a 10. Now, Doug, why don't you explain the grading scale, just for people who aren't familiar here at SGC as we go through these?
Sure, so we use a 1 through 10 grading scale, as well as the grade of pristine which we give a gold label.
Okay.
So, it's a 1 through 10 scale with half grades in between.
Okay. So you can get a 9.5.
Exactly, a 1,
10.
1.52, 2.5, etc. 10 gold being the best grade we give, being a card that is perfect basically in every way.
Okay, and speaking of 9.5, so we've got a 9.5 here on this Tua card. So why did this card right here grade a 9.5 instead of a 10?
Yeah, so comparing this card to the Ronald Acuna card, for instance. So the Acuna card basically had, minimal to zero flaws. Mm-hmm. Had it been 0 flaws, we would have given it the grade of pristine.
Right. So it had some minor flaws.
Very minor flaws.
Okay.
This one in particular had just very minor touching on the corners.
Okay.
Something to the naked eye you're really not going to notice, but you're going to notice through magnification, things like that. It's the pristine grade is going to be the thing that you're under magnification. It's still going to be pristine.
Right.
This card got a 9.5 because it still shows gem mint qualities.
Yeah.
However, it has some minor imperfections. This one it's slightly off center.
Okay.
This one is off center a little bit left to right. This is sort of a tricky one to show from a distance on camera, but if you look up close, we look at basically these white lines here to gauge on this particular issue, the mosaics. And so for this issue, it's still within that, slightly better than a 9, maybe, close to a 10 range for centering.
But not perfect enough.
Not perfect.
Centering
not perfect enough to warrant a
Okay.
10. There's a few minor dimples on it, but it's not quite there for a 10.
Okay.
But it's close. It's better than a 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Very good. And then it looks like then we have this really cool pink Kevin Durant card, actually from Prism Update there. That's the Prism Update that was part of Chronicles to get Kevin Durant in his Brooklyn Nets jersey. And that one scored a 10 as well, the 10 gem mint grade. Very nice. And then I'm excited about this one. Excellent. I just pulled this from a pack the other day. This is actually was part of a live break with Doug from our team. And he pulled this one for me as part of that break. So Doug will be happy to know that he handled it with great care during the break, because that one graded a 10 as well. Okay. And then we've got a Juan Soto update, another 10 grade. So we're doing good here with the grades. This is great. Although this next one, obviously we had some flaws here, so we're going to talk about this. This is the Ohtani, a card that's super hot right now, but this one graded a 9. So we had some flaws here. So why did this one grade a 9 as opposed to a 9.5 or a 10?
So the main issue with this one was the centering. So, you know, centering on modern cards, you know, since we're dealing here mostly with ultra modern cards, one of the main factors is commonly centering. So, you know, because a lot of these cards are coming fresh out of packs, they're generally going to be really crisp cards. Not always, but generally. So a lot of times the main issue is the centering. So on this one in particular, it's the top-bottom centering. So as you can see.
So that's interesting. So the top bottom centering is the issue with this card, not the left-right centering. Most people, when they think of centering, they think of left-right centering of the image, but you're saying it's actually, in this case, the top-bottom is what cost this card
so
its grade.
when we're looking at centering, we're looking at not just the left-right centering, but also the top-bottom centering. And they're both, you know, equally as important, so long, you know, so long as the neither one takes the eye appeal away.
Right.
Because eye appeal is always an extremely important thing that we care about when we're grading cards.
Yeah.
So in this case, top-bottom centering is off, and it's taking away from eye appeal.
Gotcha.
So you can see top-bottom centering on this one by the small space there and the larger space there.
You're right. If you look closely at that, that's definitely an issue. If you look closely, you can see that the player's name and that bar at the bottom is quite close to the bottom of the card, but up at the top of the card, there's actually quite a bit of space between the Topps Chrome logo and the top of the card. So that's where the disbalance comes, and that's why this card, the whole thing is shifted down a little too far. Interesting. Okay, I hadn't noticed that, so that's good to know.
You can see a comparison on this next card.
Right, and because the final card here, the Ronald Acuna, got the 10. So that's interesting, and of course that's great because that's the refractor, so that's a great card. And if you compare them side by side, you can see how that Ohtani card, how the whole card is shifted somewhat down compared to that Acuna card, and that is the difference between a 9 grade and a 10 grade. Thank you for taking the time to come in here and explain this to us. We appreciate it.
No problem.
For somebody who is submitting their cards to be graded, what are when they're evaluating at home and deciding, is this card worth grading or not, what are the main factors that you would tell them to pay attention to before they make the decision to send the card in?
Well, like I touched on before, centering is very important, especially with, you know, ultra modern cards. So definitely take the time to look at the centering. You know, on some modern cards too, centering can be tricky. You know, some with the inserts, it's not as obvious as you'd think it might be. In which case I recommend going online and looking at other examples of cards online. You can kind of get a gauge of what the centering should look like. That would be, you know, that's the biggest thing, I think. It really is. After that, you know, you want to get a good look at the corners and edges. The surface hides a lot of things. You know, so you want to take the cards out of the sleeves or whatever you have them in, get a good look at them. Make sure your cards are in the right holders, penny sleeves. Sometimes those can cause damage. So just be real careful with what you're keeping them in.
I'm curious, people, especially with the chromium cards, they can sometimes show fingerprints depending on how people are holding them. If somebody sends in a card that has their fingerprint on it, will you actually grade it down for that reason?
Not a fingerprint. That's something that we can wipe.
Okay, so you do that because that's always a kind of a question in people's minds. Should I wipe my cards off? But if you see a card and it's just got a fingerprint on it, you'll
fingerprint.
Okay, but any type of other surface damage.
Other surface damage is different.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very good to know. Appreciate it. Thank you for doing this. This was really insightful. I'm sure the audience really appreciated hearing this as well. So thanks for joining us on the show. That was fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Remember to check out that bulk submission service we now have at Sports Card Investor with SGC. Better pricing than you can even get going through SGC Direct. Go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on grading in the main menu bar. And guys, if you enjoyed this content today, please give us a subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you are notified of new episodes. We'll see you back in a couple of days with our next one. Take care.